Virgin Galactic Investors, we have Andy Shovel on the phone with his 108,000 shares, and he spent $400,000 on those shares, and he is with me live on the phone. He is driving. We can't put him on camera, but you'll all recognize his voice. He's phoning in, giving his opinion. I am on the phone now to about 12 major investors looking to buy out the company completely and fire Eric Kearney. That's my opinion, but now we'll hear from Andy Shovel directly. But anyway, Andy Shovel, how are you this morning?
I'm good, thanks. I'm completely dry.
Good, I'm glad to hear it.
I'm driving back from a meeting, so I couldn't come on camera, but nice to speak to you again.
Absolutely. Lovely to have you here, and please drive safely, whatever you're doing. That's the most important thing. Andy, we reported last night we put some major news out last night. A lot of information about the past, the present, and the future of Virgin Galactic. We talked about the reverse split, all the good things that are coming, all the things that have come and gone. And this morning we had great news about a new research flight, repeat business, which is always good to see. We like repeat business, and a lot of good news there for an upcoming flight. Looks good, but of course now the price in old money just dipped below 40 cents. It's gone up slightly since then, $9.15 old money. It was as low as 40 cents about 10 minutes ago. As an investor, how are you feeling today?
I'd say that my feelings haven't really changed, even though the stock price is really volatile. So the company, what matters a lot more to me is that the company still has around $850 million in the bank. And they have a clear plan to reach cash flow positivity with Delta. The last flight just went really well, as did their other previous 6 flights. I have to say, it's not great that the share price is on its knees, and the reverse split was perhaps a bit hysterical and didn't need to happen. I don't feel panicked, put it that way.
Okay, fair enough. That's good. What do you feel that many people are calling now for management change? Not impressed with Eric Kearney, not impressed with Michael Cole-Glazier. They could have done better, in my opinion, and many others. You may not feel that. You may feel they've done a great job. But I'm getting a slight ticking on your phone. I think you were tapping the screen there. Many are calling for a management change, and say if we got management change, it's what's needed. The company could do better. Do you agree, or would you like to keep the management that is in place? Andy is driving, so we may lose some signal from Andy. I can hear you. Yes, fantastic. Okay, I can hear you now.
Sorry about that.
So the question I was asking, and I was just updating my audience. I've just had an interview with Bloomberg as well. They wanted my opinion and thoughts for a news story, which I've just been involved with. That will be out soon, and when it does, I'll share that with everybody. A special Bloomberg interview, and they may have been in contact with you as well. So Andy, the question I was asking you was, I'm talking to lots of investors at the moment, and they're saying to me that we'd like to buy out the company in its entirety and replace the management. We've seen that in other companies in the past where management change really did change the direction. So the question I want to ask you is, are you happy with the management? Would you like to replace anybody?
I wouldn't say I'd like to replace anybody. Because I don't have a really substantial insight into the competency of the management, to be honest. All I see is what you see and the public sees. I don't know how competent or not competent the management are. I've no experience in running a space tourism company, so I don't know whether they're doing a good job or a bad job. Obviously, I had some problems with the decisions they were making, which is why, with your help and others, I started that petition a few months ago to get them to stop spending so much money and cut some costs. But as far as I can see, they have a clear plan to get to Delta. They've scaled back their operations. I think it was a good decision to stop doing the regular flights with Unity, because it's just a waste of resources and bandwidth. So like, in general, I'm not super unhappy with the management right now.
Okay. Well, that's a good sign. You feel? Do you still feel confident in the company, its direction?
I've felt for the last several months a degree of confidence, and obviously a degree of, I guess, concern, based on quite ambitious. A quite ambitious plan to get Delta up and running and to get to positive cash flow. I think there's probably too much optimism built into the sort of like financial plan, because anyone doing the kind of back of fag packet maths would really struggle to get to net profit with the kinds of flights that Delta, and actually most realistically the carrier Eve, because you remember they hired Boeing to help them produce a new carrier plane, and that's obviously, we all know how that ended up, right, in court. So they now have a problem that hasn't really been spoken about, but they have only Eve, and Eve is now supposed to do 3-4 flights a week when it wasn't designed to do that. So I'm not entirely sure how they're going to get around that on the basis that there's no carrier plane currently being built. So I think that might be a bottleneck for their plan to get to profit as it stands. And so, yeah, I've, in answer to your question, I feel a mixture of optimism and concern in probably an equal measure.
Okay, that's a fair comment. Last night I put out a 30-minute video which was provided by Richard Durant, who did analysis for Seeking Alpha, and I commented on it, and there was information about that the bottleneck is going to be there, and there are issues down the line. Things aren't all great, but there are some positive news today. Getting a rebooking shows that those scientists love what they did last time, want to do it again. That's great, because we earn more money. I say we, as the owners of the company, the shareholders, we earn more money on those flights, so we're interested in those flights. It's good that they want to book it again and all the rest of it. But I really do feel, and many people that I'm speaking to feel, that the management need to be replaced, just because they've achieved so much. We've seen the flight successful. That's been great. There's so much possible and future potential, but people feel that the stock price did not need to have reverse split. It just presented opportunity for those to short the stock even more, drive it down even more, and we all know the statistics of reverse splits. They don't tend to end very well, and it just draws negativity. And in our opinion, and me and others, we feel that it presents weak management, not confident in their own product. And people still believe, and they keep saying it over and over again. And I have to say, and after talking with Bloomberg, they felt the same as well. Why on earth would they not put a celebrity on the flight when they have them? I know we've talked about it before, Andy, and you've not been too concerned about that. But when we look at Rolex and we look at Ferrari, they all, drape a celebrity over the bonnet of the car or the watch from time to time, particularly when the stock price is so low and it's so much retail investors. They just need a bit of a break. I mean, it just feels, talking to my investors every day, they just feel let down. How do you feel about that?
I think it's a really fair point. It would not have hurt to have, an Elon Musk, a Taylor Swift, or whoever's bought tickets. It would not have hurt to have them on one of these flights. I agree. I've always said to you that I don't share the view with others that it would completely transform the company's fate. I think it would probably be quite helpful and drive some interest and perhaps some buying pressure on the stock. But generally speaking, I don't think it's a fundamental driver of the company's fate. What really I'm interested in is how much cash they have in hand, which at the moment is about $850 million. the absence of any crashes, which at the moment they are not having and they haven't had, so that's good. And like the progress of Delta, I think is fundamentally important to the outcome here for all of us. If Delta has some kind of 2 or 3 year delay or something like that, then we're toast, because they'll have to raise money and they'll struggle, and then that might be it. But like, generally speaking, those are the really important things to me. And I'm really not that bothered about celebrities. I'm not really even that bothered about the share price, to be honest. And no. so yeah, I'm very boring on this show because I always say similar things. So
not at all. My audience love your contributions to the show, but I have to say, having spoken to you now probably 4 or 5 times, that is a slight, not a complete U-turn, but a slight pivot. You said you're not bothered about the celebrities, but you did say, wouldn't this is the first time you've kind of said, well, it wouldn't have done any harm. So I agree with you that it wouldn't change the direction of the company. It wouldn't be a massive game changer. I agree with you, and I also agree with you about the stock price. Stock price isn't the business. It's just the price people are prepared to pay today. It's purely a sentiment. I agree. But the fact that you said now, it wouldn't have done any harm. The thing is, if they'd had a celebrity on the flight and drawn attention to it, I mean, they're just not getting the numbers. The people that watch the shows, watch their shows, have just dwindled and dwindled, even though we've kind of kept our numbers. They've dwindled on their own YouTube channel and their own website and all the rest of it. If we could have got a sexy rock and roll flight, we wouldn't have needed to have reverse split. And I've mentioned this before. It looked like they're trying to reverse split on purpose, which, you've always said to me, I can't see why they would want to drive the stock price down. What's in it for them? They are paid in stock options and they want the price to rise, or it would seem that way. But, I think that would have been the way to have gone. And I think we wouldn't be where we are today. And then I think it would have stayed away from the whole meme craze. We've seen the collapse now of GameStop going down, FFIE. Virgin Galactic got dragged in, and I had hundreds of thousands of comments and messages and stuff from cult-like followings that are following the GameStop thing and FFIE, all these meme stocks. And Virgin Galactic unwillingly got dragged into that whole club, and now it's become such an easy prey for shorters and negative people to drive it down, and it doesn't matter, as you say, what the stock price is in many terms, but however, with such a low price, it drags in more shorts, it drags in more negativity. Less people want to put their hand on it, less people are feeling confident with the company, and it makes it harder for them to dilute. And many people said that's why they reverse split the stock, to try to dilute. Every day that gets worse and worse for them to find money. I think there's going to be a delay looking at the information on Delta. They're going to need to dilute, and now they can't. Well, they can, of course, and do what they want, but now wouldn't be a good deal. How do you feel about those thoughts?
Well, on the celebrity thing, I wouldn't rule out the possibility that they have actually canvassed their celebrity waiting list members, and they've actually said, no, I don't fancy it, thanks. I want to wait until they've only done 7 flights. Like, it's still in the realms of an extremely high risk undertaking. So I wouldn't rule out the idea that celebrities have been asked by Virgin to go on a flight and they've said that they don't fancy it. That's
a good point.
Because if I was, to be honest, forget if I was a celebrity. Even now, if Virgin asked me to go on the next one, I think even though I'm such a big fan of the company, I put so much money into it, and I'm a huge space nerd, I still think I'd say no, because I've got probably more to lose and more to than to gain from it right now, given the risk reward ratio. A lot of people die in space travel, and they've done 7 flights, which is brilliant, but they did kill a test pilot a few years earlier, and they injured another on the ground a few years before that. I would not really fancy being in the first 10 flights, if I'm honest with you. I wouldn't really fancy being in the first 20. If you asked me 150 flights in without incident, then yeah, I'd be down. But I would be quite surprised if your average Paris Hilton type celebrity really fancies risking life and limb in the first few flights. I would be very surprised.
That's an interesting point, and one of our bullish investors, Zachzate, has just said on the screen, the management of SPCE doesn't show any desire to fly with it like Richard Branson. Maybe they are scared of the ride. So that's a little bit what Andy Shovel. If you've just tuned in, Andy Shovel's on the phone with me today. He's unable to be on camera as he's driving, being very responsible, of course. That's good to see. But Andy is one of our major investors, as you know. He's been part of the petition. He's been part of the show now for quite a while. Very successful businessman himself. He runs his own business in the UK, and it's lovely to have Andy with us on the phone. So we're coming up to the end of our broadcast here, Andy. I've got to get ready because England are playing Denmark in the Euros, and that's far more important.
Yeah, it's mildly less dangerous for. Yeah, but still very important. I agree. I guess in closing comments, like all I would say is, let's focus on the fundamentals of the company as a group of investors, and let's not be too disheartened by the noise around the share price, because the share price will go up and down. But what matters is whether the company runs out of money or reaches profitability, gets delta in the air. Like, those are the things I think we should really be cheerleading for. And if the share price is pretty compressed at the moment, then fine. As long as they stay on the open market, I think we'll hopefully be okay.
Thank you, Andy, as always, for calling in. Keep in touch with us. Drive safe. Look out for my Bloomberg interview. That'll be out shortly. And I appreciate your time once again.
Cheers, Martin. Good to chat to you. Have a good day. Bye.
And you. Thank you, Andy, for your thoughts, as always. Always a great guest here on the show. Thank you very much indeed for calling in on such an important day. Drive safe for the rest of your journey. Give everybody else, click above my head, down below in the description. I've just put out 2 major videos. A 30-minute documentary video about where we're going past, present, and future with the company, and also a call for action. We had action before with the petition. Now we're calling, should we get together? I've got 12 of the world's biggest investors that I phone up and should we buy out the company and fire Eric Kearney? And myself, I would take over as marketing and do a damn sight better job. Over here, we have those videos, and down here, thank you very much indeed. I look forward to seeing you back later. Until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other.